Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Happy Saturday night. I am excited for a little bit of downtime this evening to chat with all of you. Yesterday, during earlier in the day, I did a masterclass called Overwhelm to Opportunistic. And in this particular masterclass, I listed out an assortment of things that cause us as women leaders to feel challenges, to walk through certain triumphs and still have some drama that go along with it. How we as women are often trying to figure out how we're going to make some things happen, how we're going to overcome the litany of amazing things that are coming at us from every direction. And so today I had the most leisurely Saturday. And then I said, I came home from out running around. I ran with my daughter. I did all the things. I was rested. I took a nap. And I said, you know what? I feel so energized. And I really wanted to take a few minutes this evening to uncover some things and to share some added thoughts about how overwhelm can dismantle us, but not just that, how we can get out of it and overcome in spite of all the things that are coming at us from so many different directions. If you are new here, my name is Christina Garrett. I am honored to serve the world as a productivity coach for women leaders with families. 99.99% of my clients that I work with are mothers who are striving to change the world. And because they're working to do that, because they're trying to find how they can manage and work their way through so many different avenues of their faith, their family dynamics, their personal challenges, their wellness journey, managing a home and being a matriarch. Like now we are the matriarchs, right? We have to be willing to lean in and look at some of those layers that keep us from fulfilling our true potential. Okay. And the reason that we have to keep coming back to this is because seasons of life change. The season that you are in right now is not going to be your forever season. I'm going to repeat that for you. The season of life that you are in right now is not going to be your forever season. And sometimes that seems really, really hard to believe because it feels like this one that I'm working through and I'm enduring is going longer than I thought it would. And often when we have that feeling or that belief, it can make us feel as though I actually am coming at this from all these different directions. And I feel overwhelmed because of a litany of reasons. And so today I want to bring down and discuss what some symptoms of overwhelm are looking like. Like sometimes we give that word, it becomes a catch-all phrase. Okay. Oh, using the word overwhelmed, overstimulated, I'm over it. Okay. It becomes a catch-all phrase, doesn't it? Where whenever we have heightened emotions, whenever we feel like I'm up to my ears in the to-do list and all of these layers, we start to feel as though I don't really have the capacity to do the things that I desire to do. And so what we want to do instead is unpack that, okay, and make sure that the places where we could be amplifying our voices and showing up stronger, we're actually doing that. Okay, we're actually doing that. And I want us to just be able to feel as though I am showing up as the woman that I desire to be, nothing less. Like I'm not bringing anything less. I'm sharing to our group. I'm not bringing anything less to the table than I believe anybody else. Okay. I know for a fact that I can show up to the game and play the game because I can handle it. I can handle it. I'm capable of handling it. How do you ask for more? How do you ask for additions to what God wants to give you? Okay. And we're sitting here feeling like we're drowning with what he already offered us. Okay. And so what we want to do tonight is really unpack how this works for us as women leaders, how this shows up for us as women who feel like they are called to make changes in the world, and then how we can move our way through that. Okay. So I want to start with the idea about what overwhelm actually is. And most of the time, it is the way that we throw together an expression of heightened emotions, or an expression of I'm not really sure which direction I'm going. Okay. Sometimes we feel as though there's so many things coming at me from so many different directions. How do I manage this well? And the feelings that you may encounter or endure can add a additional layer to that. We're not even talking about family stuff and those needs. We haven't discussed yet if you're a founder, if you're a community leader, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are working in corporate and you're climbing the ladder. Like, all of these layers add to the stress, the focus that you need to have, that you have every single day. It's there, it's already there and present. We just have to figure out, how am I going to work my way through that? So overwhelm doesn't always look very dramatic. A lot of times it looks like we are being productive, and then we end up finding ourselves in a state of mind, or it's a feeling inside. Like, somebody asked me, I think it was on a podcast interview a couple weeks ago, they asked me about my thoughts of balance. Like, do you think balance exists? And I said, it absolutely does. It's an invisible force, almost like gravity. Now, here's the catch 22. You have to be balanced to ride a bike, right? You have to be balanced to ride a bike. However, one of the challenges can be you can't see if you are balanced all the time, but you can feel it. A person, you can feel balance. And when we work our way through that, we say, you know what? I actually see how that can play a role in my life and in the work that I do. And so a lot of times overwhelm doesn't come across as hyper dramatic. Sometimes it looks like I'm being very efficient. Everything that I said I was going to do, I did. Sometimes it looks like being the person that is reliable. Sometimes we're reliable to a fault, but you can count on me. I may be a primary problem solver in my family, in my home, in my work. That may be where I am right now. Okay. For some others of us, we may be maneuvering through or handling. How do we even figure that out? Okay. And so we want to make sure that when we're doing those check-ins, that they are viable, that they are something that we can work with. Okay. How are these layers showing up in my day-to-day life? Okay. All right. So I'm going to lean in a little bit. I brought one of my favorite books. I can no longer advocate for the author. I think he got into some legal trouble. However, the book itself is really good. And there's some layers. The name of the book is, and I've taught up from this book before, it's called Take the Day Off by Robert Morris. I think he had some stuff going on. I don't know. So don't quote me on this. I've been talking about the book since before anything came out. So I digress. The book is called Take the Day Off. And in the book, he talks about what it looks like to have emotional overwhelm and stress. Okay. He talks about the feelings that he had as a ministry leader, as a father, as a parent, all of these things, so that it began to pile on top of him again and again. And he really wasn't sure how in the world he was going to, make it work. Like, how is this happening to me? Okay. And so in this book, and I'm finding the page, in this particular book, he talks about what does it look like as a person to be emotionally overwhelmed. He talks about what does it look like as a leader to be emotionally overwhelmed. And the symptoms, and I think they didn't specifically come from him. I think they came from, let me give, there was a statistic in this book. I think it was a study by the CDC and all of the good things. But he talks about warning signs of burnout and emotional exhaustion and overwhelm. And in this particular section, he gives a list. He says there are 6 things that they said were the beginning of maybe you spiraling a little bit. Okay. The beginning of you having a lot of heightened things going on in your world. Um, and what he said was the first one was sense of failure and self-doubt. Okay. Sense of failure and self-doubt. That a lot of times when we're feeling like we've had too much, we can experience the am I even supposed to be doing this? Am I even supposed to be here at all? Am I even supposed to be here at all? That is a very heavy weighted emotion. Okay. Very heavy weighted emotion. What does emotional overwhelm look like in your life? Okay. What does it look like in your life, in your world? Okay. So we have a sense of failure and self doubt. Okay. You thought that you were the one, but maybe maybe you're not called for this. Another warning sign of emotional exhaustion, okay? Feeling helpless, trapped, and defeated. When we want to stretch, when we want to grow, when we want to amplify our voice and do big things in the world, the feelings of overwhelm sometimes feel like I'm trying to come out of it. I'm trying to move to the next level, but I feel like I'm trapped. I feel like I'm stuck. What is that about? Another feeling of emotional exhaustion, overwhelm, detachment, feeling like you're the only person in the world who is going through this. As a productivity coach, I think I have maybe a handful of clients, I can count them on one hand, who have been single, no kids, or wives, no children. For the most part, the women that come to me and find me are mothers or women with families who are caregiving. They have a lot of things going on in their world. Okay. So because they are these people, often that can cause those challenges. So everyone tells me the story, right? Whatever their story is, they're happy to take it out of the book bag and lay it down. And then they feel like, I know this is a lot. I know I told you some things you've never heard before. And I'm like, friend, I can't say I've heard it all, but I've heard a lot. Okay. So you're never the only one. You're never the one who's like, there's nobody else out here experiencing this in their journey. It seems like everyone else is doing so much better than I am. But in reality, that's not always true. So many times we are called to work our way through all of these layers. And that can be the challenging part. Another symptom, loss of motivation. What used to charge you up doesn't charge you up anymore. What used to amplify you doesn't amplify you anymore. What you used to love doing, when you are overwhelmed, it no longer feels like the sauce that you once had. Good evening. We no longer feel like I am as excited about what I used to love this. I used to raise my hand every time and say, I'm the one that you've been looking for. But ever since I've been feeling like everything's coming down on me, it feels like a lot. Maybe I need to just take some time. Maybe I need to pause for a little while. Okay. Maybe I need to pause for a little while and revamp or figure out something different because this just isn't working. Have you been there? Wave at me in the comments. Have you been there where you said, you know what, maybe I need to come back to this at another season in my life? I have. Because there's so much happening in my life right now and so many things coming at me. And I'm trying to maneuver how in the world all of this is going to work together. And it doesn't feel like it is. So I may need to take some time. Here's another symptom of emotional exhaustion and overwhelm. Increasingly cynical and negative outlook. Have you ever met a cynical person? Somebody who it's almost like they can't seem to lift their head. Okay? Everything is negative. Everything is like, what in the world is going on right now? Why are they always feeling like everything's coming down on me, down on me, down on me? What is going on? Sometimes when we have moved against the brick wall for so long, we've been moving against it for so long, it feels like not only am I the only person, not only do I not believe if I can handle this, it seems like everybody else is doing better than I'm doing. There's something deficient about me. And so when I start to work through it, it feels like I'm doing, but I'm not getting ahead. No wonder we can experience a negative outlook as a result. And then the last one that he mentions here is decreased dissatisfaction and sense of accomplishment. Sis, you might have forgotten who you are. You might have forgotten who you are, that you are that girl. You may have forgotten. An overwhelming situation in life can make us feel that way. Good evening. Can make us feel that way. It can make us forget that we are that girl, that we are that woman, we are that sister. We are empowered, lifted, resilient, determined, that we decide what consistency means like in our lives for this season of time. We decide to expand in ways that maybe we didn't consider expanding before. But we are that woman, okay? I want us to feel as though that is possible for us, available to us. These are just symptoms of emotional exhaustion, period. We haven't even brought into the group chat yet what it feels like as a mother, what it feels like as a leader, what it feels like as somebody who is called to take others with them to the next level. The fact that other people are waiting for greatness to come from you so they can link their greatness to your greatness in the best way possible. Yes. Yes. Expansion, please. Yes. Doing more, doing it bigger. Yes. More opportunities. Yes. But one of the things that I'm seeing is that when we start to feel overwhelmed, very often we decide that maybe now's not the time for me to press fast forward. Maybe now's not the time for me to do my next big thing or pivot or shift. Maybe it's not the time. So overwhelm creates that in us. It makes us feel like I'm struggling to get ahead. Now I want to bring this over. Okay, I want to bring this over. I did a graphic a long time ago, and I asked all of you about what overwhelm looked like for you in motherhood if you were in the trenches. Okay, if you are in the trenches of motherhood, what did overwhelm look like for you? This is what you all told me. Extreme fatigue, tired. I feel like I can't get my energy back. You said you can feel it in your actual physical body, tightness in your chest, in your shoulders. Like when I've had enough of enough, I feel it right here. Maybe you feel more emotional than usual, very overstimulated. You all said that when you are overwhelmed in your motherhood journey, that you overspend. Like you're looking for fulfillment in other places. So let's go shop. Let's go out. Let's go do things. Okay. You all said that some of us overeat to overcompensate. Like I need to feel some joy somewhere. So let me go get me something to eat on. Okay. Some of us said that we repress our emotions. Like we don't operate as a human who feels and experiences things. Instead, we tend to operate like a robot. We're not even in tune with our emotions like we used to be. You all talked about not feeling motivated. You all talked about not feeling consistent. You all talked about having a short temper and lashing out suddenly. I want to pull this up tonight because I haven't put this on Instagram in a while, and I'm going to. You all talked about low motivation. You all talked about low energy. You all talked about locking yourself in your room and tuning out the chaos. I don't even have it in me right now to go and deal with the chaos. Okay. You all talked about how your boundaries need added support. Okay. That sometimes we end up saying yes to things we don't want to say yes to and no to things that we don't, that we do want to say yes to. We end up turning that off because it feels like it's just too much. And then we can have an added layer of entrepreneurship, leadership, where we have multiple projects happening at one time, but struggling to get them finished. We get mad with our children because they don't finish stuff. Baby, do you finish stuff? Are you a finisher? We sit down to get work done or to push our movement forward, but we don't really know where to start. We spend time on busy work instead of things that really shift the bottom line for our business. Often the thing that is very forward facing that will make the biggest difference is the thing we put last on the list. When you are a mompreneur or a founder, but you're also overwhelmed, you can be constantly creating, but not launching. You can be researching instead of executing. You can be reworking that website again and again and again. You can be procrastinating on whatever the next move is. The best next move is the one you choose and follow through on. But baby, my mind can't even focus my thoughts right now. It can be feeling like you're working all the time, but the growth that you've been looking for has been slower than you conceived. It can be your focus being all over the place. It can be reacting to the schedule instead of proactive planning. It can be having a vision that is insurmountable. You have expansion all around you, so many opportunities that are available to you. I've had clients, had people that said, I want that, send me the invoice. And they were so overwhelmed, they were like, I can't even send it. I said, well, you're going to send it right now on this call. You're going to do it right now. But the overwhelm is what creates that. Okay, the overwhelm is what produces that scattered focus and moving away from the things that we know are going to change our lives. Okay, but here's the thought that I want to anchor today in the midst of what overwhelm feels like in the body, what overwhelm feels like in our minds, what overwhelm feels like on our schedules when we sign on for a lot, or we raise our hand for a lot, or we just have a lot going on in our world. Feeling overwhelmed it does not disqualify you. Overwhelm does not disqualify you. Overwhelm does not mean God has not chosen you for such a time as this. Feeling like this is a lot coming at me at one time is not a sign that I should turn and go the other way. In fact, the coach in me says it probably means you're going in the right direction, but there are things that have to test your resolve. Will you be different this time? Will you show up in a different way this time? Or will you allow the curvatures of life, the roller coaster ride, whenever you decide to change yourself or work on a behavior or elevate in some way, are you going to allow these very challenging emotions to be what moves you? Will it be what says, okay, not this time, next year? Some of us have next yeared ourselves over and over and over again. Okay. So what if we decided that that wasn't going to be the case anymore? There was something that I'm doing this year, and I'm going to talk more about the expansion year, which is 6 to 12 months of coaching going into the end of this year, into next year, where I'm looking for dynamic women who are going to shift communities and expand. And one of the things that I want to do with these women who have big visions, but their time is a challenge for them, or their capacity is a challenge, being productive in the most aligned ways is a challenge for them. I said, you know what? I'm going to move some things around in my schedule. I'm going to be the example of what it looks like to make your business reflect your priorities. Okay. So alongside my son preparing for college and all of these other, so many things happening at one time, I said, I'm going to do a strategic planning retreat for my clients. A strategic planning retreat for my clients. Beachfront, luxurious, beautiful accommodations, right? And we're going to talk about what it looks like. But I did not, no matter all the things that were going on in my life, I knew that if I waited too long to plan it, it was going to take forever. Okay. I knew that if I took too long to reach out to, I do some consulting work for Hyatt hotels. Yes, I do. And one of the good friends that we have, he is vice president of the things. And so I said, listen, do you know, can you connect me with somebody at this property? I think I want to do such and such for about 40 women. He said, absolutely. I moved so quickly. I didn't even go I moved so quickly. I didn't overthink, rethink all the things. I said, no, this is something I want to do for my clients. Send me the contract. It moves so quick. I didn't give myself the opportunity. Sometimes you have to move faster than your own brain to say yes to what you need. And so you all know that I usually do Mamathon every fall. I said, we're going to put Mamathon in Women's History Month next year. I talked to a good friend of mine who she works at Essence. And I said, do you want to come back down? She says, yes. Like, we're moving all of these things, all of these pieces together to make some really amazing events happen. So I went from having the one signature event to 3 events. Two of them in combination with my city and my councilwoman client. So we're doing 2 events here in Montgomery, the Founders Retreat and the Mamathon Conference over the next year. And I wanted to present the opportunity of what expansion looks like in real time. Like in real time, every time that I show up to coach and teach and facilitate, I do it as a different person because I'm constantly learning, growing, teaching from a new vantage point. Okay, from a new vantage point. And so I want us to redefine what productivity looks like, what balance feels like. And I want you to remember that when you have situations of overwhelm in your life, it does not mean that you're not qualified to do what you feel called to do. Instead, I believe that it means God has answered my prayers in influx. So many things that I asked him for, he's giving me. Now, God, based on what you put in my hands, what do I do now? What kind of structure do I need? What kind of support do I need? What kind of systems do I need in place to ensure, excuse me, that I can be the woman that finishes what she starts? Okay. That finishes what she starts. How do I become that person? That it becomes innate to me. It becomes an automatic response that when I have something in front of me, I shift into this mode. Okay. And so I want us to highlight that prioritization matters, your capacity. I'm sitting here, right, with my cup of water, but this cup has capacity to it. It can only fit so many ounces, right? But we are not like that glass. Oh, that's good. We are not like that glass. Instead, I believe that that capacity is like a muscle that you stretch, that you grow. When I first started, me and my daughter, we went running today. And even though we've made it up to however many weeks in on the Couch to 5K running plan, it does not matter. We take time off and then we get a little sluggish. Okay. And then we end up having to go back to week 1. And then by the time we get to week 2, week 3, week 4, we're like, wow, I can feel the capacity in my lungs has grown. How long my legs can go without complaining, right? Has changed and shifted. When I first started lifting weights, right? I'm trying to get a little extra chub off. But way back in the day when I first started working out, I had 2-pound weights and was sweating. But because my capacity has shifted, I can use 15s, 20s, 25s. My capacity has grown. I'm not the same person that I was. I can now have multiple events being planned, multiple moving projects, multiple site visits. I went to one 4-star restaurant last night and sat down and had a meeting. I have another meeting on Monday to go and tour another venue for both of these events in my city. I can also sign contracts for the Founders Retreat. That's for my ladies, and start talking about Mamathon 27 with the people that I really want to have there as a part of a Women's History Month initiative in Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, I can. But my capacity isn't what it used to be. I'm now becoming a different person. So in what places do you, sister, feel called to expand? In what ways do you know your vision and ideas deserve more? And maybe your energy also has to match that drive and that push. And so this is what I am doing so much more of this year going into next year with my clients. The full year 12-month Mamathon Mastermind is not going to open again until the end of the year. Okay. But if you know that you want to start now, you know that you want to rest more, show up more consistently, earn more, take up more space in the world. You want to delegate unnecessary tasks that are draining your time. You want to build systems and routines that support your family, your wellness, and your work. You want to reclaim your hours and create more margin in your life. You know, that white space, okay? That white space Will you actually have time to take naps? That's why I'm live at 9:40, because I napped today. You want to organize your ideas so you have clear steps. You want to finish faster. You want to build momentum and become the girl that you're known for this. Okay. You want to position yourself for bigger opportunities. I don't want any. I was telling a friend of mine, and I don't want my tablet to die. I was telling a friend of mine, I said, I don't want to do anything smaller. That's just me. I don't want to do anything smaller. I want to do everything bigger. And she was like, for real? Yes. I want to do everything bigger. I want bigger events, bigger community. Right now we have 24 ladies in the mastermind. I've been self-coaching myself all year on what it would feel like. Hello, everyone. What it would feel like to have 40 women there, because all of my clients get one-to-one coaching. I don't skimp anybody, right? I love being able to over deliver and know my people and all of that. Like, what would it look like to be that person instead of the version of yourself that feels like you have limitations? I want to take my limitations off. I feel chills. I want to take my limitations off. Don't you? I do. And yes, I have a million children. And yes, all these things are happening. But I want to be able to do more, give more, show up more, and also go to bed on time. And also be the wife I want to be, the home manager I want to be, the homeschool mom I want to be, the entrepreneur, the leader, right? It's more than entrepreneurship, it's leadership. Okay. And so many of us have places where we want to expand and grow, and maybe we're feeling like it's hard to start. My girl Abby over here, she said starting is often the hardest part. And that's okay, right? That's why I'm here, is to help you start and walk through it and finish. Okay. And so some of the things that I was telling Abby earlier, we were sending voice notes back and forth about coaching. And I was sharing with her, I was like, I think as I grow and learn and change, my community does as well. So what Mamathon is now, it wasn't always this. It used to be a whosoever will, let them come. Like, if you want to be here, you need moms to sit with who love God and love their families, you can sit with us. And then over the years, I had to learn certain skills, resources, put new tools in my toolbox to help me be a better leader, a better founder, a better person who builds community. I had to do that work. Sometimes you don't start off like, oh, I want to do all of these things. Sometimes you just start off like, I just want to create space. I just want to be able to, share with somebody, encourage somebody where I used to be. I don't want you to be there anymore. I want you to feel like you have options. That's where Mamathon started. But then as I hosted more events, I said, I need to learn how to do better sponsorships. As I learned how to do better sponsorships, I had to learn how to get people to respond to my emails. As I had to learn how to get people to respond to my emails, I had to learn how to get more emails out faster. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, how to increase your productivity, your resilience, your routines, so that the person that you want to become is almost inevitable. It is inevitable. And so I invite you to join me for an expansion year. I invite you to decide. You have to decide that now's your time. Like, I don't think there's any like particular green flag that automatically appears. It has to be something that happens inside where you say, this resonates for me. I know it's my time. Like, I know that I could use support structure systems to help me get to where I want to go. And also, I've decided I'm ready to be the person who shows up. That's different. That's not just, something that's thrown around. Like, you have to decide, I will be this person. I'm going to grow. Even if I'm not her yet, I'm going to grow into being this woman. Okay. And so this time together is intended to help you clarify your vision, help you to build your goals, to provide you with the support, the accountability ongoing. Some people do coaching back in the day, I did like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, like shorter stints. But as my clients have evolved into women who are building out projects, women who are building out initiatives and communities and running for public office, and they're doctors and they're therapists and they're creating relationships with universities and they're booking international speaking engagements and 6-figure grants, that takes longer than 6 weeks. That takes longer than a month or two. That takes longer than even 3 months sometimes. And so I try to position for all of you the value of longer term coaching, the value of community, so that we're growing together as a tribe. Okay. And so if you feel like I'm talking to you, I don't want my computer to die tonight. This was very impromptu. I want to invite you, just put call in the comments. That's it. I have one sister, she's on Instagram. We're talking this week. Just put call in the comments and we can talk about, is there a way for us to work together? Would you like that? Do you feel like it will help you get to your goals faster? Yes or no? Do you feel like this will provide the resources and support that you need because you're doing partnerships, pitching, proposals, productivity, and parenting, probably the layers of life? If you say yes, I've seen what you've been doing all this time, Christina. I see the relationship you still have with your kids. Like, you're doing this and that. I want that. I open up my life to all of you to help you get to your goals in half the time. And so this is private one-to-one coaching for 6 to 12 months. You're going to see me multiple times a month. Okay. It's strategic support that is tailored to your season. But also, in addition, you will be included in the Founders Retreat that's coming up this October in Panama City Beach with the rest of the Mastermind ladies to help you strategic plan for what's coming in 2027. And I just believe that it's going to be something so amazing. Another bonus that I would like to offer to everyone who joins the expansion 6 months or a year is to do a VIP day with me. Like, come to Montgomery or come to Atlanta, and we're going to mastermind together, you and I. This is an add-on that I believe will help you take off like a rocket to really figure out what it is that you want. And you'll have multiple places to come back and anchor to. I know what's coming next. I know when it's time for me to go and get that work in, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I've become more resilient. Anything that's worth doing requires resilience. And I'm seeing so many people floating around the internet. They're floating around saying, I don't want to be resilient. I don't want to be strong. I don't want to be all these things. I'm sorry. Since when did we start teaching our girls that strength is not beautiful? Strength with softness, femininity is beautiful. I want my daughter to see a woman who has a dream, has a goal that is uniquely hers, work that she loves, and she follows through on what she said she was going to do. I want my daughter to see that woman. My son's girlfriend, she calls me other mother. She practically lives here. And I want her to see the same thing. She's 18. She hasn't had a ton of examples of women who love the Lord and love their families and we do all the things here. I want them to have those examples, but we have to become that first. Like, if we're looking for ease, flow, and, everything to feel, they're not going to go to medical school. These girls are not going to become therapists and doctors. They're not going to become nurse practitioners. They're not going to become engineers, because that directly goes against the idea of working hard to fulfill a goal. This is not a culture. We're not talking about staying up all night. We're not talking about hustling and hyperspeed. We're talking about creating a culture in our girls where they can decenter poor choices in relationships, poor choices in the trajectory for their future, because I saw my mother make the right choices. I saw my aunties make the right choices. I became the example. And so I want to do more of that with all of you. If you're ready to join me, VIP day, Founders Retreat, 6 to 12 months of coaching. Girl, we're going to eat them up. We're going to eat them up. We're going to eat them up. That's all I got to say. We're going to do it. So my computer's going to die. I love y'all so much. Put call in the comments if you want to talk this week. I'll reach out to you via Messenger, and we can find a time to connect. Okay. I love you all dearly. I'm going to hop off the internet, and I will see you all for a consult this week.